Okay. Check, check, 1, 2, check. Check. Huh. Excellent. The stream is live. I still know how to do this. Sweet. First of all, the Zen Buddha's here. Wait. I don't know if that worked. I know it did. Oh. Unplugging everything. That's what that did. And Mama KillCo's here. Hi, Mom. Welcome back. I have returned safely to my alcohol. My giant supply of liquor has remained intact. I have to put like so much stuff online still. I was doing content, but like shorts and such, but they are not. There's no. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I do it if I can't upload it because, yeah, no signal. So I was certainly doing stuff. I posted a couple of them today. One of them was I was stung by something, and I still don't know what, but it was fine. It just went away within like a couple hours. But god damn, dude, I haven't experienced that kind of sudden sharp pain in a very long time. It felt like I was, well, it felt like I was stung, but it felt like, I'm pretty sure. Here we go. Let's start from the beginning. That was a quick week. I don't know how I feel like I stepped into the line of fire of this thing, and I swear I've had this kind of conversation before, where I stepped out of the restroom area, if you want to call it that. One of the most horrifying things that was there. Ugh. So glad to have indoor plumbing. I stepped out of there, and something must have been rocketing down in the direction I just stepped into, because something just went whack, and big sharp pain made me jump. Like, that's how sharp it was. It's like, wah! I did that and jumped. And good God. I'm pretty sure it stung me 3 times, whatever it was. Like, it hit me, then it stung me again, then it stung me again, and then I don't know what happened. But it felt like just one, and I don't know what it was. I can only assume some kind of wasp, since it stung me more than once. I think. But I haven't mutated into anything yet. Oh, there's still... one might say I'm out of the woods. Sorry. John McElwin, hello. There we go, now I can hear it. You're welcome. Thank you for bringing your time and attention here. As always, it is greatly appreciated. It was a quick week. It's weird. Yellow jacket sting more than once. Well, maybe. Like I said, I was just minding my own business. Going back to my tent and swap. It was quite the surprise. But I can say that was likely the worst thing that happened. And that's not saying much. It just sucked. It just was like, outdoors. That's right. It can hurt. Oh, wait, no. That wasn't the worst. Yesterday was kind of the worst. I was in the sunlight for so long. You can't tell. I'm pale as a ghost. But I swear, even with my sunblock on, I was getting some sun. And I don't want sun at all, ever. Genius maneuver, though, on my part. I went to the amazing Fort Ticonderoga, thanks to the suggestion of Sugar Kitty. 2 places I went, thanks to Sugar Kitty mentioning them. Or at least it came up in chat. And it was so sunny and hot that day. That was yesterday. Oh, it was yesterday. Oof. It was like 33 degrees Celsius, which is around 90 Fahrenheit. Close to it, if nothing else. And the sun was just high in the sky, clear as day. And I was walking around this giant fort out in the open. As long as you live to tell a tale. Yeah, well, I'm here. For now, anyway. I already talked to my therapist this week. We're fine. I definitely was sweltering yesterday. I know I didn't drink enough water. I was fine, but I was aware that I needed to drink water by the end of it. I had a little bit with me, and I was sipping on it, but I wasn't drinking enough, nearly enough, for the temperatures. And those poor, poor young people who are reenactors of the fort, which was a nice little treat for me. I didn't know there'd be something like that when I got there. I just sort of walked in and went, all right, this place is large. I walked up to the fort, and I got tangled in their little web. They did this on purpose. I got tangled in their web. And I walked down this tunnel, which they had, which apparently is a tunnel that had been invaded at one point by, was it the American or the British? I think it was the British. But that fort changed hands at least 3 times. With the French, the British, and the Americans. All kind of having fun with that over the years. So I went down this tunnel, and I got to the end of it, and it was so much cooler, and there was a nice breeze through there. So I paused, and I saw that there were people, you know, near the end of it who were all dressed in uniform, and I felt so bad for them because they must have been sweltering. I was warm, and I had a button-up shirt and jeans. And that was it. Like, button-up shirt usually means you're pretty cool. Nope. I was warm. And they were all dressed up and walked down the hallway, and they played music. Do I have that on here? It doesn't sound great. Not because they were doing it poorly, but just kinds of instruments they were. The flute instrument they had is very sharp. So it got that note that makes your ears go like this. E. E. That's what it does to me. If it gets to a certain volume, my ears want to like close off and stop. It's not great. Where is it? Wait. On my phone. It was wood, but they had like little pieces at the end that were copper, I believe, which is why it was so sharp. Let me see if I can find it. Because I have so much to like post still. I have so many pictures of that place. Flowers and artillery and the museum. Here they are. I got to play with the drum. Yeah, that noise. That, whatever that is. Dead Boo's nomming away. That sounds interesting, like food choice. Lentils and baklava. It's all very militaristic because that's what it was for. That was the interesting part about it, was finding out how things were done. Like, music was used to tell people what to do in the camp or in the fort. So when you wake up in the morning, you would wake up because you heard the music playing. When you needed to get to work, you would get to work when you heard the music playing. And when it was time to eat, you went to eat when you heard the music playing. And when you needed to do combat, you would hear the music playing and you'd get in position. Different songs, all of them. I only got that first one, but they played at least 4 or 5 other ones for us. And again, really, like the point, I have ear protection and I wanted to use that really bad because it was so sharp and they were right near me. So I was very close. So you'll see that actual march at some point once I upload it to the internet on the channel. Besides that, they did the cannon fire. That was fun. Cannons are loud. Even this, it looks like a very small cannon. I think it was a 6 or 4 pound ball they were using. They didn't put the ball in there. I was standing at such an angle that I saw them went through the whole process because it required like 5 or 6 people to do. Papa KillCo, hello. Welcome. Thank you for showing up. For my return to the internet. I hope you're well. Yeah, so they get to the part where this puts to load the ball in, and I saw the guy like bring the ball in front of the cannon and then just like tuck it in their pocket. So obviously they weren't shooting real cannonballs. That would be extremely dangerous, and the neighbors would complain. So it was nice to see the whole action and hear the thing go off, because I'm pretty sure I have that on here too. I'm gonna have to find it. I want to give you like all the goodies, the pre-goodies, before I actually post these things and put them together. Let me see if I can find it. They also had some cattle. I went to the King's Garden. I waited for Sugar Kitty to pop in. I'm very pleased with me doing that. All the cannon stuff looks so old. This is what the talk. 250 years.
Now, as the sun rose on May 10th, 1775, Benedict Arnold, Ethan Allen, and the Green Mountain Boys.
Oh.
And all of these soldiers fall into their places around the gun.
Silence!
They're quiet. Wait for further orders.
Lay off the apron. Stop the touch hole. Handle sponge stack.
The man at the back right, he stops the touch hole with his thumb, preventing any air from getting in.
It's a whole process. I'm going to try to get to the point where they actually set the thing off so you can hear how loud it was.
Any errant sparks that may be left inside after fire.
I also don't know how to do that. About there?
Stop the touch hole. Handle sponge stack.
The man at the back right, he stops the touch hole with his thumb, preventing any air from getting in, possibly igniting any errant sparks that may be left safe below. On.
I'm going to find it.
Unstop the touch hole. Handle priming wire. Try if the cartridge be out.
The man at the back right, he then
Unstop the touch hole.
Whole process.
will use it to
Prime.
There's the prime. Put it in position. And here goes the little tinder stick at the end.
pulling on it to ensure that it is burning red hot. Now this is the loud part. He is then given the order to
Fire.
Doesn't sound as impressive when it's on film, but that was very loud when you were next to it. And of course, you'd feel it go through you. The sound wave just literally. Blah. I have coffee, by the way. Hold on. Yuck. It's Keurig coffee, everyone. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's a flavored one. That's the saving grace. All in all, a lot of fun yesterday. The genius part I was talking about was that I had brought with me in my backpack an umbrella. And I quickly realized that umbrella for rain can be an umbrella to block out the sun from hitting my skin. So yesterday I was the eccentric, mustachioed man with the umbrella, the parasol, if you will, keeping the sun off me. Oof, and it was still brutal. I know I didn't burn myself, like I didn't get sunburned because I would have feel it by now, but I definitely feel like I got a little toasty, like my freckles are standing out a bit more than usual. Again, you can't tell, I'm pale as a ghost, but yeah, didn't exactly enjoy that part of it. I stayed out of the sun as much as I could. So that was yesterday. I also went to the New England Maple Museum, which was closed, which sucked. I got there and waited around for a little bit, expecting it. I expected it to be open when I got there. It wasn't. I expected it to possibly open at 10 a.m. It didn't. And then I just left and went to Fort Ticonderoga, which was the plan anyway. So I just got there earlier, which was good because it was a lovely little time. I didn't get to eat there. I wanted to. I ate out more than I should. I am a bad camping person. I am not the type of camper who can go into the woods and just stay there and eat every single meal there. That's dull. And I don't like eating the same thing I can make at home out in the woods when there are so many other places nearby that are delicious. So I went out to eat at least 3 times, maybe more. I went out to eat this. Well, not went out to eat, but on my exit of the area, I rolled up on this nice little cafe. It was very quaint, and ordered takeout there. But the prices in Vermont are a little outrageous. I ordered a bacon, egg, and cheese, and a maple latte, because of course I did, and it was $20. Bacon, egg, and cheese, everything bagel. Medium, wasn't small, it was medium, I think. Maple latte, iced. $20. I felt like I went to the cafe down the street from here at Four Corners, which I forgot the name of. Groundswell? I'll say that's it. Very expensive. Lovely atmosphere. Very expensive. Those prices are outrageous. Probably worse now. Ugh. As far as what else I did, I had breakfast at one place that was very... I don't want to call it eccentric, but I definitely walked in there and I could tell immediately because there was a counter area with those little circular stools, and there were at least 2 or 3 people there, And those 2 or 3 people were known by the person who was behind, the waitress lady who's behind in the middle of that thing. So there were locals there. And I just sort of sauntered in and sat down. I was like, all right, here's the atmosphere I was looking for. The nights were not scary. They were dark. Even last night, I had hoped to step out of my tent and look around, which I did. I stepped out of my tent thinking, I'm going to look at the stars. It's a new moon. It's pitch black. Unfortunately, I stepped out of my tent, and it was pitch black. So I stepped away. I tried to look up at the sky. I'm in the trees. Like, I had a shaded campsite, so I couldn't look straight up or anything. So I had no good visibility from where I was, and I knew I couldn't walk very far away because I couldn't see anything. I walked just a few steps away to try to look at, like, an area I knew of that kind of went through the trees where I might see some stars. It might have been overcast. I don't know. It was dark. And those few steps I took away from the tent also made it so I didn't know where the tent was anymore. So I had to kind of step over and put my hands out like, oh, there it is. I found it. It was dark. That is a different kind of darkness, the middle of the woods at night. I don't dislike it. I enjoy it, actually. It was nice and peaceful. And the thing I experienced that I really liked the most was the thing we all ignore, or at least don't experience automatically. I think, Mom and Dad, you guys could actually experience it on the porch if you wanted to. And I'm sure you do occasionally, where you experience the end of the day and the beginning. You experience the sun setting and the sun rising in a sense, where you're just there with it as it happens. So you just feel the gradual change in the atmosphere and the lighting and all that. Where if you live in an apartment building or in a house and you're just inside, you don't really notice anything that happens out there. It becomes nighttime and that's it. You don't experience the in-between, the evening, the twilight and such. And with the morning, you'll just see the night turn into, I don't, that's morning. You don't fool me with that. That's morning. That's yuck. And I've done that the past 4 days. Because for whatever reason, if I go camping, I awake with the dawn. And I go to bed early because it's dark. At 8:20, it's the 9 o'clock. By 9 o'clock, it's dark. So you can either be in the dark or you can be in your tent. In the dark, probably. But it was certainly interesting to just be in it. And I spent plenty of time where I was just in the tent, sitting just peacefully, not doing anything. It was very nice. I need to do more of that in my own apartment. I try to. I have a couch that I sit at occasionally where I'm not distracted by anything. Anything like a computer. But I'm glad to be at my desk again. It's been a while. Mom, remember how I said I was going to leave and bring my coat? Because I was a good Boy Scout. You must remember, I was not a good Boy Scout. So I definitely forgot my coat when I went there. It's one of the first things I should have loaded in, but I had no coat. I had just a button-up long-sleeve shirt with the square designs on it. Flannel. It was like a blue and black flannel design. I got it at Hot Topic a long time ago. It's very cozy. So I had that, which is the only thing that saved me in the morning, because in the mountains of Vermont, it gets cold at night. So it went from 70-something to 50-something Fahrenheit in the span of a few hours. So it was very cold when I woke up one morning, and without my coat, I just had a long-sleeve shirt to put on. It helped. It got me through it. But it made me think, you know what would suck if I had to do this again? So when I went to Ben & Jerry's, because of course I went to Ben & Jerry's, and I had not too much ice cream. Oh, Mom, I tried to send you that picture, but again, I was in the mountains. And I'll show everyone here. Una memento, per favor. Per favor. You guys get the scoop on the ice cream at Ben & Jerry's. I took the tour. I got a little special treatment wherein I got there and I was like, oh, I'm going to go on the tour. And I'm talking to the lady who does the tickets. And well, it would have been about an hour wait for me to go on the tour. And I thought, okay, fine. And then she went, wait, I can get you into this tour that happens in like 15 minutes by adding you to the, what do they call it, the overfill. So they have maybe 2 slots they can use for people who are, if it's already full. So I got one of those slots. She was very kind, letting me in, because it was just me. It was just, I'm like, it's just me. Yeah, I'll go by. Ugh. Made it very easy for me to get in there. And I did. It seemed very much the same. I remembered walking up the same stairway. That felt very familiar. I was like, I've done this before. We watched a little blip about Ben and Jerry, how they started out of a gas station, just making ice cream. They have free cone day, started out after their first year of being there. They survived a year of being there. So they had free cone day. And that's stuck ever since. And then, what after that? Then we had some of their cookie dough. If you do not know, Ben and Jerry's makes just like cold pieces of cookie dough that you can eat from like a bag. It's amazing. We got to try some of those, and I've had those before, and I was very pleased with having them again. And then after that, we had a ice cream sample, which I really like, and it's I think they called it, it's not cookies and cream. What was it? Milk and cookies, I think it was. So it was 2 kinds of cookies in vanilla ice cream, and it was delightful. I got it all over myself. The joys of having a mustache and a goatee when trying to eat ice cream out of a tiny little paper cup. It makes a mess. I got all my hands. It's sticky. It's a problem. So that went well. And then I got myself an ice cream cone at the end. Of course I did. And that was, what kind of ice cream did I get? Oh, I got half baked. I haven't had that in a very long time. And I did mention when I was there that usually what I purchase, generally speaking, if I buy Ben & Jerry's ice cream, it's Americone Dream. And I'm going to buy that again soon because reasons. If you know, you know. I don't have to explain. Let's see. Where is the ice cream pitcher? It's just a pitcher. Oh, I also saw this. This is something to highlight for those of you who are here who like whiskey stuff. Do it. Do it. Whistle Pig barrel-aged maple syrup. I did not buy it. I am not a fan of Whistle Pig. I don't dislike their stuff. I just don't like it enough to do that. But here we go. Let's see. This is coming out. You're not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. Doop. Ben & Jerry's chocolate-covered strawberry. Focus. There we go. That's one of the new ones that's coming out soon. Sounds amazing. Looks amazing. Limited batch options. So if you see that one, it's limited. Get it. And then there was 2 more. Oh, yes, there's 4 more. They're going to make ice cream sundaes in a pint. So you buy it, and it's an ice cream sundae in a pint. And they have, I think that's chocolate cheesecake. I didn't take a good picture, so I can't see the other side. It just says lotta cheesecake. Dulce Delish. What's the other one? Cookie Vermont Stir. Sorry, Sundae. Ben & Jerry's Sundae. And Turtle Sundae. So get ready for having sundaes in a pint from Ben & Jerry's. What a wonderful idea. Oh, and as far as the non-dairy option, they have chocolate caramel brownie coming out in non-dairy. And this is my little very, very quickly melting ice cream cone thing. I wanted the cone experience. I just didn't want the cone mess. So I got the cone with it. And finally, as a little aside from what I was talking about earlier, because I got sidetracked talking about ice cream, I went to a very familiar place right after Ben & Jerry's, and I thought to myself, you know, if I find a certain thing here, I will buy it. It was a substantial chunk of money, but YOLO. So, you can see it here. It's a hoodie, I've made the executive decision that in the autumn and the winter months, I'm just going to wear a hoodie, and that's it. So be ready for that. And this is Cold Hollow Cider Mill, Vermont to the core, 1974. And Mom and Papa KillCo know that we have gone there many times in all our trips to Vermont. It was kind of standard. Like, we would go there because we were there. That's why. They've actually expanded next door into a cafe, which I didn't know about. And I saw this, and I saw it in this color because I like this color. It doesn't quite show up right on my camera, but it's like a forest green color. Super cozy. And I wore this when I went to sleep that night because it was going to be a cold one again. It was lovely. I had a lovely time. With that, it helped tremendously. As far as, what else did I do? I think that was the first day. It was Ben & Jerry's in Cold Hollow. Day 2, I visited Lost Lantern, but I did something before that. What did I do before that? I did end up waiting around there for a while. So I think I had food? Hold on. I gotta check my Google Maps. It'll tell me where I was. But yeah, Lost Lantern. I can show you what whiskey bottles I got, or which whiskey bottles I sampled. I didn't buy anything because I was lucky enough that they let me in for a tasting at all. And you have to thank Daniel Whittington for giving me their contact info so I could just talk to them directly. I don't know where Riders on the Storm came from, but there it is. Zedboot, welcome back. You missed everything. Sorry. You missed the Ben & Jerry's. You missed my news hoodie. You missed... What else did I just talk about? Going to Lost Lantern? Going to Fort Ticonderoga? Wow. All for your dinner. Okay. What was I doing? Map. I'm trying to figure out what I did on Tuesday. No, wait. Wednesday. It's funny that it seems like I was there for a week, but really I was just there from Tuesday to Thursday because those were the days I did stuff. Monday was driving up there. Friday was driving back. You'll catch it on the replay. Oh, I don't know. It won't be the same. I'm kidding. Let me... Hold on. I used to know how to use this. I don't know anymore. My timeline? There we go. We're finding out what I did on Tuesday. Shelburne Farms. Yes, that's right. I went to Shelburne Farms at one of these days. I just don't remember which one. That was probably a Tuesday thing. Yeah, it was. I went to the Shelburne Farms first, walked around, realized it was a very large place, and I was not ready to walk around anything, which is probably for the best. I really wanted to see more of the property, but I didn't want to walk, so I only did a little bit. I bought a molasses ginger cookie and something else. No, I don't remember what. They had cheese that they made there. I had a little piece of cheese. That was nice. A little cheesy experience. Rosie's Restaurant is the one I was talking about earlier. There was no Rosie to meet, but it was part of the family thing. And that was my rather amusing situation. Sorry, this thing's very confused. I did not. No, that's the thing. When I walked in there, I didn't realize how big it was, and I didn't realize it was going to be all walking. So I walked in and like took a walk down to where the barn is and realized it was too much. There were too many children there. That's really the big thing. There were lots of tiny children there, and I was not interested in being around children. And it was also getting warm. I didn't feel like walking all the way there. It's going to be something I do see on the, like, when I'm ready to do that. I walked in there not knowing I was going to have to, like, settle in and put my backpack on and get my hat and get my sunblock out and do all that. So it was just more of a visit. And, you know, I got to go on the tractor ride. The barn is like a chalet. That's where I went. I walked to the barn and I saw their cheese stuff and I got their little bakery cookie That was nice. They only had 2. I was a little bit disappointed about 2 cookie option, but whatever. It was good. I enjoyed it. The ginger part especially, was like, oh. Ooh. And that's where the children were. Like, there was an area that most of the kids were going towards, and I went, not going over there. I think they were going to see animals. There's things floating through the air. Oh, we can watch a cow get milked. And I was like, gross. No, I don't think so. I don't want to see that. I visit the barn. Yes, I did. Oh, I see. It says cycling on here for one of my movements. That was definitely when I was on the tractor. I was not cycling. I went to Ben and Jerry's after that. Then I went to Cold Hollow Cider. That was a busy day. Yeah. Shelburne Farms, Ben and Jerry's, and Cold Hollow Cider Mill. And you didn't see this, and we're going to show you just for you, that I had forgotten my coat. So it was very cold the first night, and then to avoid the second night being cold, since I had gone to Cold Hollow Cider Mill so many times in the past. Excuse me, could you please? And it looks like one of those like college shirts or college sweaters. Cold Hollow Cider Mill. Really like their cider. They had hard cider there. All the more reason to go back. So I had some regular cider instead. It was delightful. I actually drank that after my Fort Ticonderoga experience because I knew I needed liquids in me. And as far as Wednesday was where I went to, I don't know what that is. Oh, yes. Wednesday was the day where I had to find a shower. How do you find a shower when you don't know where showers are? Well, first of all, I knew where a shower could be. I went there. No one was there. And the shower would have been, I think, my best guess was that the shower was in the team rooms. So it was like a community. There was a recreation center. And they had a basketball court and they had team lockers in the back. But they were all, locked. So I imagine that's where the showers were. And unfortunately, anyone who was there who I could have talked to was not there. And I waited around. I was hoping someone would show up. No one did. So I did the only other thing I could, which was to find out that the town itself had a pool. Yeah. You know what? They have pools. Sometimes they have showers. So I went there, popped my nose into the men's changing area bathroom shower, took a really quick shower, like 5 minutes, and then got the hell out of there. I didn't have to pay a cent, which was my favorite part. So I could definitely do that again. I wouldn't want to. It was really like touching. I was just like, I don't know if anyone's going to say anything, so I'm not going to ask anyone anything. I'm just going to walk in. That was the day I took a shower, went to 3 Squares Cafe, where I had a lovely little brunch burger. That was an accidental place. I wanted to go somewhere else, but that didn't open until 4 o'clock, which I didn't check. I haven't posted that to Instagram yet because I have to post a lot of things to Instagram still. So I had breakfast brunch, visited with Lost Lantern, talked with them, had some samples. I'm going to show you what they are. Relax. And then I visited the Rockberry Museum, which was intriguing. I visited 2 very interesting American locations during this trip. One was the Rockberry Museum, which talked about some women who were doing artwork of plants, and they were trying to get recognition in a male-dominant society at the time, where their artwork was gorgeous but wasn't taken seriously because woman. So that was a little bit of history there. I took some pictures of that stuff. Going to be posted on the internet, on Instagram, so follow it there. And it also had something to do with the Underground Railroad. Like the people who owned that building were part of the Underground Railroad and would help get people either safely into northern states or all the way to Canada if they didn't feel like they were safe in the United States anymore. That was interesting. It was sad. He was like very sad to go in there and find this little bit of history that was dark. People having to flee for their lives because they had been slaves or they were owned by other people. Messed up. It was a twisty, turny day. And then, why did I do that to myself? I basically just popped out of the whole thing. There we go. Timelines helped me know where I was. So that was Wednesday. Thursday was big day. I went to the country market by accident. I had to turn around, went to the New England Maple Museum, which was closed. That sucked. And then I visited Fort Ticonderoga for 4 hours, 5 hours almost. It was a long day of me just being there and kind of being dragged around by the events. I got to take a ferry across to New York. That was exciting. I just kept thinking about how we were going to freaking drown. Of course, we weren't going to drown, but that niggling feeling. What just happened here? Are you still playing? What happened? There we go. Things being weird. Anyway, let me show you the whiskeys from Lost Lantern real quick. The problem right now is I have to sort through a myriad of other pictures. Since I took quite a few at Fort Ticonderoga, I was very impressed with that place. That was a place where you could get the ticket and you could come there like 2 days in a row. You could absolutely come there 2 days in a row. I did maybe barely half of what you could do there. They had stuff for boats. They had stuff for... I didn't get to visit the museum very much. I think they had a walking tour, or a tour you could do with someone. Like they would guide you through there and tell you more about everything. Let me see. There we go. So I had 4 of them. Here's the lineup. 4 malt whiskeys. Focus. There you go. All Lost Lantern. The first one, which I like the most, I decided that I like this one. It's not going to show up very well. It's called the Gentle Giant. And this was from Balcones, I believe. Got to zoom in. It's from Waco, Texas. Texas single malt whiskey. Made collaboratively. 57.6%. Balcones Distilling. There it is. Right in the middle, and I couldn't see it. This one, surprise, surprise. Do it. Andalusia. So I have an Andalusia of theirs up there. This was not it. This one was finished in tequila. Peated Texas single malt whiskey finished in a tequila cask. Thankfully, I could not taste the tequila, but that was a very odd one. I didn't hate it, but considering I like Andalusia and their triple distilled the most. Not so much the Striker. I like Striker, but I like their triple distilled better. 61.2%. Hot damn. Then we had Santa Fe Spirits. I'll show you the bottle. Again, I only took like a picture of the, come on. Picture of the bottle. There we go. So you can see what it is. See, it's a real bottle. And this one was, what was the percentage? I don't know if I've had anything from Santa Fe Spirits before. It was New Mexico single malt whiskey. That's right. I have not, because New Mexico. New Mexico single malt finished in an apple brandy cask. And I would have liked that if I had known that there was... They didn't tell me what any of these were to start with. Which was why I was very surprised that the Balcones, the first one, is the one I like the best. But I didn't get any apple brandy taste on there, and we definitely had a brief discussion about how both of us, can't remember names, but one of them very much liked apple brandy, and so do I, except it's hard to find because people aren't that interested in apple brandy, which sucks. Thankfully, I have some apple brandy down there that Andalusia did. I don't know if I'm going to drink more apple brandy in the future, but I'm not against the idea. I can see myself with one of those big glasses, just sniffed a glass, sniffing my brandy, sipping it. Yes, it'll be warm brandy for those cold days in autumn. There's a whole story that just went in my head there. I was going to be sitting by the fireplace, which I don't have, and then they threw this thing at me, which was just peculiar. Mount Meadow. And it tasted strangely familiar and also because St. George Spirits, California single malt whiskey, that doesn't make it bad. What made it not ideal was they had just distilled they had distilled an IPA. And I'm not sure if they distilled the IPA itself or if they used it to make beer and then used that leftover from that to distill this. Whatever they did to it, it was super weird. And it did have that odd IPA thing going through it. And this was at, come on, 53.5%. That was the strangest of the bunch, and they knew that. They gave it to me knowing I was going to go, whoa. So that was that. That was the whiskey experience there. Delightful. I definitely recommend if you're in Vermont, you should go there. However, they're open officially on Fridays and Saturdays, but I imagine if you wanted to get in touch and do a private tasting, similar to what I did, you could do that. I have some footage of me that I'm going to use for something that I'll give you more teaser stuff about, where I had them get involved with filming stuff, which was nice. You know, it's having someone to help with the recording. Usually it's just me and my tripod or my arm. Like this. Feels ridiculous. I also went up to the top of Mount Independence or Defiance. Anyway, there's a mountain up there, and I went on the top of that and took a selfie, which I felt like a complete idiot, but got to make sure I take pictures of myself being there because it doesn't make sense otherwise. Well, she didn't move with me. I haven't looked at this before, actually. I have to edit it. I have to edit it all. So the idea is I pop my head in like this. And then, yeah, then I just laugh at it. That's all. And then this one, I pop up and steal the whiskey. Steal the bottles. That was it. How I'm going to use those, I don't know yet. But they were funny. They helped record. So yes, lots of adventure, lots of doing things. Utterly exhausting. Nothing was close. Everything was an hour's drive and in different directions. And I total drove. We've learned I have to keep track of my travels because taxes. And the whole trip was about 817 miles total. I also know how many hours it was, but I didn't write that down because it's not necessary. Nope, still tastes bad. Doesn't seem to taste as bad now, though. Fun. I need Sugar Kitty to be here. They will be most impressed with all the places I went. Going on the ferry, as I said, was a whole unique experience. $20. $20 for the ferry. Wait. $20 for the ferry got me both ways. So I got to go over and come back for $20. So $10 each way, fine. Don't like it, fine. And I need to check the actual, I forget. But going into Fort Ticonderoga, Viva Las Vegas. Good evening, Cliff Smith. That's for you. Thank you for bringing your time and attention here as always. It's greatly appreciated. I have returned. I did traveling too with a car. It was dreadful. No, it wasn't that bad. I don't mind driving. That's the thing. If I'm just going somewhere, I feel fine with it. It's like a new game I'm playing. Just get to the destination safely. Oh, I could do that. No problem. Where? There we go. Trying to find Ticonderoga. I couldn't find it. So we got to put this into a star because when I've been somewhere, I have to star it so I can say I've actually been there. Yeah. So the problem I had with Fort Ticonderoga is that I had to go take the ferry, which was $20, and then I had to pay the ticket. Do you want to guess how much the ticket was? Go ahead. Try and guess how much the ticket was to get in. Covers 2 days, though. Keep that in mind. I tried to get my money's worth, I'll say that much. I had to find reasons to go back, too. Probably just to go to a different site in the future when I can manage that. 39. Oh, nice try. No, not 39. You're in the ballpark, as they say. Cliff, I have a new sweater. Or a hoodie. Hoodies are better than sweaters, by the way. Because I like their cider so much. And I hope someday I'll be able to go back and grab a hard cider. I very seriously considered getting it. Getting the hard cider just to have it for later. $17.50, close, Mom, but no. Zenboot was closer. 45, nope, you're going too high. Too high. Mom, you're too low. If that helps. I like this music, by the way. Putting the last guess in, I might spoil it. You have 15 seconds. Nope, not 25. 30, Zenboot, you got it. $30 for entry. Again, 2 days. But in total, that one trip cost me $50. $20 for the ferry, $30 to get in. And this doesn't include whatever money I spent on food and water. I bought a water bottle because I needed it at the end. I needed cold water at the end. I drank half of it in one go. It's 20 ounces. And I bought a little pastry pie thing they had. It was like a apple turnover is what it was. I ate that. Sugar Kitty, speak of the devil. Welcome. Fort Ticonderoga, huh? That place is wild. That was, yeah, that was one of the more expensive places I went. Going to Ben and Jerry's, their tour cost maybe like $10, maybe. I don't even think that much. $8? But to go to Ticonderoga, it was quite a bit. And Sugar Kitty, I also did hit up, we were talking about it earlier, Shelburne Farm. But I wasn't ready for what it was. Unfortunately, so I didn't get to experience all of it. I didn't get to see the water. That would have been a lot of footwork. And unfortunately, all my footwork got sent into being at Fort Ticonderoga. I think how many steps did I take that day? Not that that has any relevance on anything. But my daily step goal is 7,000, because 7. And on yesterday, I got almost to 10,000 steps. So 9,179. Which is a fair amount of steps for me. Yeah, same thing happened Wednesday. Same thing happened. So there are 3 days in a row where I was doing almost 10,000 steps a day, which is a lot for me. I don't exactly have to walk very far. You think? Do you like it? As always, all the Revolutionary Green Mountain Boys were. Yes. Yes, they were. I did enjoy it. I was most enamored by their reenactment stuff. And they took it to a certain degree where I was like, I don't know if this is good. This doesn't feel right for these people. They had to dress in period decor, which they had made there. Like they made the costumes there as if they were made the same way they made them back then. The shoes were the same. The shoes were being made there. They were sawing and making planks the way they used to back then. And the people who worked there who were in costume or volunteered maybe, I don't know what they did. They would have their meals as if they made them back in that era. So they had a lot of mush food. I didn't see what they were eating. It actually smelled kind of good. But I definitely walked into one of the areas where the bunks were. I sat on the bunk. It was not terrible. It was definitely straw. It was definitely a straw mattress. And they were making like dinner. They were making dinner, which is a lot like lunch. So they have dinner and then they have supper, which made me immediately think of hobbits, unfortunately. Strutenbridge Village and MASH is on my list. Oh, and I forgot the name of the mountain. I think it was Mount Defiance. Hold on. There's Fort Ticonderoga. $30 for 2 days, don't forget. And I went to the top of the big-ass mountain nearby, which is where? Why doesn't it show it? Oh, wait, I was on the other side, wasn't I? Was I? Fort View Inn. Yes, it is. Damn it. Yeah, that's right. I was talking about the, I'll bring it up for you guys who are just showing up now. Slackers. If I can find it. But I got to see the cannon, hear that go off. Unfortunately, on my recording of it, it doesn't sound that loud at all. I was a little upset by that. It's like, but it was so loud when I was there. It went right through me. There we go. Let me show you. It's me trying to get in the frame. Okay. They're all dressed up. My camera work is on point. Look how hot it looks. Those people are sweltering in that stuff. Was that official? We started to do a whole little thing after that, but I didn't want to like film the whole thing. You know, the kind of year-round actual life of something like Williamsburg. It's true. It was, and apparently they cycle. So it's at some time they're in the fort, dressed in British paraphernalia, and then French, and then American. I think it was American this time around. It looked very American. And I found out that being in the King's Garden, did I mention how they make the food for the period? So everyone who is volunteering or works there, or whatever it is, they eat that food that way. And think about the rest of it. Well, where did they get the ingredients? There's a garden down where they get their ingredients. And they use that to make the food every day. What? I got to March. Well, I'll see if I have. We're running out of time. But I do have... I felt like I started the march, by the way. So they were having this march to the King's Garden, and I just kind of got tied up in it. I just knew after the cannon or after some other event that happened, I was right near it. So I was like, hey, I guess let's see what this march is about. And one of the young lady who was playing the flute in that video, I talked to her and I said, what's going on with this? And it was the march to King's Garden. She said it was maybe 5 minutes. And I was really hot by that point, so part of me was like, I don't know if I want to do this. Did Ticonderoga feel like Assassin's Creed? It could have felt like Assassin's Creed. Very much so. So here we go. This is where I'm actually like following the march along with them. And it was me at first. It was just me at first, and then a bunch of other people showed up. Because of course they did. There's a whole march going on. Oh, focus. Me marching. Got my parasol. Oh, why must you hate me? There we go. Is that? Just marching behind them all the way to the King's Garden. It was a bit of a walk. Then I went on the King's Garden tour, learned a little bit about the whole garden itself and the history of the place and why it still exists. There was basically a person with a good amount of money with the last name of Pell, who very early on, like, this guy was thinking long term, where the fort had pretty much been abandoned and was not being used and was a whole mess. So he purchased it, gated it so no one could go in there and do any damage. And then he had a house that he built and he turned it into a hotel because there was a steamboat that would park right near the wall, right at a dock that was there. So he eventually started doing tourism. So people would come on the steamboat, stay at his hotel, see Fort Ticonderoga. Tourism, baby. And guess what? It still works today, although they don't have the hotel. Beautiful grounds. And I found out as I was, after the end of the tour, the King's Garden, they were doing something. They were setting up a very large, it would have been a tent, except the materials they were using were actually pretty thick and some kind of aluminum. So they were big pieces. Turns out the descendants of the original Pell who owned the place, what descendants, I don't know, but they're going to get married in that garden. Someone from that family. And I thought that was like, they could have been married today for all I know. It was wild. Rebellious people, yep. 250 years, baby. They were very adamant about that part. 250 years since the revolution. I'm drinking up water today. Long drive. Yes. I heard the whole story at least twice. My brain doesn't retain information very well. I remember there was, what the hell's his name? I want to say turncoat. I'm not sure if that's the right word. Don't be Sugar Kid, you have to know the name of the guy I'm talking about. I say turncoat, I'm not sure what that means exactly. And his name is used still to this day to mean something not nice. But I can't remember what it is. Benedict Arnold. Yes, that's the one. I still don't remember all the history there. It was funny to learn that that's where it all happened. Benedict Arnold's name and everything showing up. I went, what? I know that name. And of course, the fort was taken at one point. Yes, Sugar Kitty. Yes, you both got it. The fort was taken at one night when they just snuck in and caught everyone off guard. And some guy came out of there in his pajamas going like, what's going on? And they're like, we've invaded and you're all prisoners now. It was very silly. And they just like, okay, you got us. We give up. Please let us go. There's families and the children here. We want to not be dead. Please. It was nice. But oh, there you have it, folks. It's 8 o'clock. I'll be back soon. Stay tuned here on YouTube. The content's going to come at you. Keep me in mind on Instagram. That's where a lot of the pictures are going to go. I have lots of pictures. And, of course, on Twitch, I'll be doing some live streams this weekend. Possibly later tonight. I haven't decided yet. Over there of me playing some games. I haven't played games in days. So I'm going to enjoy being on the high seas once more and getting destroyed by everything that comes at me all at once. But there you have it, folks. As always, live long and prosper. Don't forget to be awesome. And I will see you out there. Special thanks to my YouTube members and patrons for supporting the channel. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.